What is good, YouTube? It's your boy OG Boy, back from my hiatus, and in today's video I got a team here that's pretty classic in the Master League Premier Classic of Dragonite with Excadrill and Metagross. So for some longtime fans of the channel, you may recognize this team as I have featured it before, but in the Master League Premier Classic this time around, not too many things have changed in the meta aside from the Charm nerf, and the new Pokemon of the Hisuian Avalugg isn't that great in this meta, so overall the meta is going to be like 95% the same, so you're going to be seeing a lot of the same teams, so might as well cover a pretty solid choice for this meta and personally one of my favorite teams here. So without further ado, let's get into these matches here. We have a Florges lead and we swap into a Snorlax, so at all costs we have to win, switch back if we want to win this game, since we do not want our Dragonite aligned to the Florges, and we can actually win this matchup if we correctly call a bait, or like we no shield. Well, yeah, we correctly call the bait, but we don't correctly call the bait, and then they throw their second move, so I'm like, no way they bait me twice, right? But they actually end up baiting me twice, so we go down 2 shields here, and this is not a good situation for us to be in, as they most likely will be able to maintain switch advantage. So that means our Dragonite's going to be aligned to the Florges, and then they also will be up a shield as well, it looks like. So very, very unfortunate situation. We literally just had to call one of those baits and we might have been able to flip switch theirs, but I'm going to bring the Metagross in here to try to get ahead on energy, and then they actually bring their own Metagross in, so at this point this game is pretty much over, since even if by some miracle we were able to take out this Metagross, their Florges will still be aligned to our Dragonite here, and then we will be taken out. So pretty much lost this match here. I tried to play it out just in case the opponent decided to take out my Dragonite right away. I could have farmed them down, and then I could have thrown an Earthquake at the opposing Metagross, but opponent playing very carefully here, and they're trying to stay in here as long as they can and burn out the switch clock. So then at this point I know the game's over and then I surrender. So next match here we have Dragonite Mirror Match, and honestly in the Dragonite Mirror Match you actually kind of want to lose this, since typically with Dragonites you will see a Steel type in the back or two like I'm running. So another typical team would be like Dragonite with a Snorlax safe swap and then a Steel type in the back, either Metagross or the Magnezone. So glad the opponent is shielding there, and they do have the best buddy Dragonite, so they are going to win CMP guaranteed, and I am more than happy again to let my Dragonite go down, since I will be able to get a nasty farm on my Excadrill here, and then whatever they bring in I should be able to handle with this extra energy. So they end up bringing the Snorlax in, and then I'm going to get these drill runs off. So first one coming through here, I might consider switching out here so that I don't have to shield a potential superpower, and then I'm going to farm up a little bit extra, switch into my Metagross here, and then they do end up having the Magnezone in the back. So now we're in a pretty decent position, since we the Snorlax is pretty low and we are pretty ahead on energy with our Excadrill, and they just expended their last shield, so we also have our shield still. So even if they take out our Metagross here, our Excadrill should be able to 2v1 sweep. So recognizing that I'm not going to be able to get to the Earthquake, I throw this Meteor Mash here, and this should put the Magnezone into a nice farm down range for our Excadrill here. So opponent deciding to throw, I know I have to let this go, and everything's going to be resisted anyways, and they bring the Snorlax back in, and we got a Mud Shot through, so now we're at our move, and we just have to hit the move, and then we can farm down the Magnezone in the back, and then we should be able to win the game. So yeah, if you ever do encounter a Dragonite Mirror Match in the lead, like, you kind of hope that you lose that, because the alignment isn't so important. Like, you would rather have the energy advantage on your Excadrill there. So next match we have Dragonite into Snorlax. So this is a pretty decent matchup for your Dragonite, since it does know the superpower, and you do get to the moves at the exact same time as the Snorlax, since the Lick is kind of like a clone of Dragon Breath, and yeah, they get to the body slams the same time you get to the Dragon Claw, and then you get to the superpowers at the same time too. So they throw a body slam, and then I'm going to get to this Dragon Claw somehow, even though they definitely had the energy to throw another body slam at least. And they bring in a Dragonite of their own, and then they swap into the Primarina here. So this isn't too bad of a position, especially if we're able to get some shields in this matchup here, since our Metagross will be able to get a nice farm down and then threaten the Dragonite in the back with some pretty heavy hitting charge moves here in the Meteor Mash. So they're going to shield once, and then like I said, we're going to get a very nice farm down with our Metagross here. I'm going to shield this just because I do kind of want to keep the Metagross healthy, even though that is resisted. And now we're in a pretty decent spot. Just have to get to 2 Meteor Mashes here, and then we should have the game. And we still have a shield too, so they're not gonna be able to get enough moves in to threaten our Metagross, and then they actually kind of recognize that and then let us get our first Meteor Mash through to take that match there. Next match, we have a Gyarados lead. So this is pretty good for our Dragonite, even if it is Dragon Breath, since you kind of do outdamage them. But they're going to bring a Snorlax in. I'm going to go for the superpower, and then I'm going to dip into my Excadrill, which kind of is a little bit risky, just because they do know the superpower, possibly. So I'm going to, I don't remember what I do here. I do shield a Body Slam. And here, I don't really mind if I end up getting baited too much, as long as I'm able to come out of the matchup with some extra energy, since the Rock Slides are very threatening to the Gyarados as well. So they throw the superpower, thankfully, and then we're able to get this Drill Run off, and this puts them in a pretty good farm down range. So now we're going to be able to get 2 Rock Slides off on the Gyarados, and we've maintained the alignment that we want, so most likely going to get a shield back. And yeah, so we're gonna throw the next Rock Slide here, and I might have misplayed this here by swapping into my Dragonite, since I didn't want to get farmed down, but they actually had a Gyarados in the back, so actually ended up, or not Gyarados, Metagross rather, but ended up not mattering how we played that out, since say we let the Gyarados farm us all the way down, and then we brought in our Dragonite, they would have brought their Metagross in, and they would have been 1 bullet punch ahead of my Metagross, since I'd be swapping in second. So they'd reached the Earthquake before I reached the, my own Earthquake on my Metagross. So ended up working out okay, but now it ends up being pretty close, as we will be able to barely survive that Aqua Tail here, and then we're barely not able to get to the last move. So pretty close match there. If I had swapped out slightly sooner with my Excadrill and decided to swap in instead of tanking 1 Waterfall, might have been a better situation here. But we are met with another Gyarados lead in this match, and they swap in a Florges. So the good thing about this matchup is you actually are able to farm them all the way down. So I will do that, and I will have a lot of energy loaded for what I'm anticipating will be the Gyarados coming back in. And 2 Meteor Mashes just about takes out a Gyarados, even though the move is resisted just because it hits so hard. So going to be able to get 2 of these off. And opponent waiting out the Switch Clock, so they get 1 Waterfall through. I could have thrown 1 Bullet Punch before throwing, but it doesn't really matter since I will only be getting two moves regardless. And the opponent actually electing to shield that there. So this puts us in a oh my god, I can't even speak, very favorable situation. So I'm going to go ahead and let that go. And then they do end up having a Snorlax in the back, so I'm going to hit them with the superpower. And this will likely draw the last shield. And then I just have to get to 2 drill runs on my Excadrill, and I can shield everything up. It doesn't really matter if they bait me or not. Like, there's really no point in calling baits at this point, since we are so ahead in terms of shields. So they won't be able to reach enough moves even if they did double body slam bait me successfully. So I'm gonna go for a Rock Slide just for fun. And like, I mean, the switch timer wasn't even close to being coming up, but if it was close to being coming up, I don't even know what I'm saying right now. That's not even English. If it was close to coming up, then like if they caught on the Gyarados, then we would have been able to take them out with a Rock Slide. But able to get a Reshiram in that set there, so that's pretty nice. And yeah, so pretty solid team still. And if you do want to see some more matchups, definitely check out my other video on this team, and I will probably link that in the description below. So that's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and also submit your battles in the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one.